Greeting, Professor, Miss Setiels. My name is Liu Ho Heng. I'm from Computer Science Department at Paragon International University. Today I'm gonna present about the mini projects of CS126. So first I will present the overview, and next I will demo the code. So first overview, my project is named digital calculators, and my project is to create a digital calculator tool using C++ programming language. And the calculator will provide a wide range of mathematical operations and functions, and it allows the user to perform various calculations efficiently. And moreover, it includes the units converters like um, degree to radians or radians to degree, which allow user to convert from one to another unit in mathematics. And it also store the data of calculations that user calculated, and it's allow user to see the history of their calculations. And here is the filters that I use in my project. So it has color classes and objects. So I use the calculator class to represent the calculators. And this class has member functions for performing basic mathematical operations, equations, trigonometric operations, scientific calculations, and also unit converters. Secondly, I use the encapsulation. So it's encapsulates data members, num1s and num2, and member functions to perform various calculations. And num1 and num2, I set it to private, and it access through the publics and one and n2. Thirdly, I use the constructors. So the calculator class has the constructors that take two double numbers as parameters and initialize the private member variable num1s and num2. Okay, so next I use the exception handling. So this filter I got it from Solo Learned, and I use it to I use try catch blocks to handle exceptions when it causes runtime errors. For example, like if our programs is divided by zero, so it's will error. So to solve this, I use the try catch blocks. So when it's divided by zeros, then it will display the mistakes that it's errors. Next, I use the file input and output. So the ftheme library is used to work with files, allowing the user to store the history of calculations and display the data of users when they want to see the history of calculation using the getLine function. So this one I create the files that store the history of what that user calculated, and I display it when the user want to see the history. Next, I use the loop filter. So I use do while loops, and also I use the for loop. The next filter, I use the condition statements. So I use a lot of if else statement to make a decision based on the function that user input. The next filter, I use a switch statement. So in the programs, I use mini switch statement to select an option based on the values of the operations variable that user input. And it allows different code blocks to be executed depending on the user selected option. Okay, so next is the functionality. So the functionality that I use in the project are first allow user to perform various calculations of mathematics such as basic mathematical operators, trigonometric operators, scientific calculator operators, and lastly unit converters. And I allow user to use the program by two different ways. So once by using the shortcuts that display on the terminal, and the another way is to allow them to follow the instruction that provided. And Next, it store all the data of history of calculations from user, and it allow user to check history of their calculation if they want to see it. Next is flowchart and class diagram. So it is my class diagram. So it is calculators, and I have two private members. So it is num1, which is the ball, and num2 is the ball. And this is my constructor, and this member functions, which is the public. And this the explanation, and this is the explanation step by step of my how to create the functionality of my projects. Um, that and next is the targets users and guidelines. So my program is designed that can be used by anyone who needs to perform mathematical calculations. It can used by students, teacher, especially a high school student, because in my program I involved the linear equations, also the quadratic equations, and many other functions like factorials. So it's easy for high school student to use it. So next, I'm going to demo use the source code of my project. So it is the instructions of my calculator. So it has 5 different operations, basic math operators, equations, trigonometric functions, scientific calculations, and unit converters. So um, and if user wants to use the shortcuts, they can press 0. So the shortcut is it's shown in here. So, and if they don't want to use the shortcut, they can press 0. They can press 1. So first I will show you the shortcut. So I press 0, and then they will ask what do you want to calculate. So enter the shortcuts. If I want to calculate, for example, since, so I can enter since, and then it will tell to enter the angle of in radians. So if I enter 0, so it will display since 0 is equal to 0. And then they will ask, do you want to continue calculating? If yes, please Y, and if you want to see the history, please A. So here I want to press A to see the history. So enter it. So this is the history of my calculation. It is since 0 equal to 0. Okay, so next I'm going to show you if I don't use the shortcuts, I use the instructions. So I enter 1, and then it will show different type of operations. So if I want to use the equation, I can enter 2, and then it will have 2 options, so linear equations or quadratic equation. So if I enter 1, and then it will go to linear equation. So I have to enter A. So if I enter 2 and b equal to 4, so we will display the root of the linear equation, which is a equal to -2. And then if I want to calculate it, continue calculate it, I can press Y. And if I don't want to, I want to see history, I press A. If I don't want to continue calculate it, I just press any keywords, and it will end the program. Peace.